but I'm alone.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Villain Viver podcast. My name is Gabriel, and with me are my co-hosts,
Divine. Hi.
as well as
I am Blastro.
Hello, it's me, Trishan.
You guys suck at introducing yourselves.
I don't care too much.
I don't introduce myself to many people, so I'm not used to
They
it.
should already know who I am.
last
Anyway.
week. Yeah. So we have quite a bit to talk about today. I guess we can just jump right into it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Blastro, I accidentally removed your reaction to Robbed or Flopped. I meant to remove mine. I'm sorry.
Stupid. Anyways.
Anyway, so we can start by briefly touching on Mo's exit. We're not going to go super in depth about this because Mo left for personal reasons, but there was some personal drama that came up, and everybody was fighting with everybody basically, and it was going to be a vote on Emmy. But Boofus, J-Ro, and Roman were all in a VC together, and J-Ro and Roman spoke privately. And J-Ro was like, no, we need it to be Mo. Emmy is chaotic, and Emmy will basically act as a shield for us. And Emmy is also our connection to the other people. So we need to get Mo out. Mo is a wild card, and Mo won't be on our side for sure. We could get Emmy to be. We can use this Emmy versus Sophie drama to our advantage. And at first Roman was like, I'm not feeling it. But then they talked to Boofus, and Boofus was like, yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, let's do that. Let's get Mo out. So it looks like the vote shifted to Mo. But as I mentioned, Mo walked anyway, so we didn't really get to see it play out.
It would have been even if what happened didn't happen, Mo would have went home there regardless. I don't think there was any what's it called, leeway. I don't think it was the vote was really going to change.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know for sure, but I think when knowing the reasons why Mo left, I don't know if it would have been much of a fight. Maybe Mo could have done something, but we'll never know for sure. It's still tragic that Mo left. We don't want to see anyone leaving for the matter. But I think we already knew what that episode was going to play out in the first place.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So that's kind of what happened there. And then the next boot was pretty uneventful. We saw Jake go out, and it really came down to Jake versus Patrick. But Amelia wanted Jake gone, and everyone was scared to piss off Amelia for some reason. So they were like, okay, fine, we'll just get rid of Jake. And that's kind of what happened. Jake thought that he got voted out because he was too much of a threat, but he actually got voted out because he was kind of inactive, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel bad for Jake because when I was giving his interview and stuff, I love Jake and stuff, and he was saying oh, I got taken out for being people saw me as a threat down the road, and maybe that was true, but it was just I don't know, he was just really busy with stuff, and he was never really around a lot. And him and Patrick kind of fell victim to the same thing where because because they were busy, they weren't really able to connect with the people in their tribe because of it. And so that's it was pretty much picking off two people who are on the bottom. So
yeah, so I mean, does anyone else have anything to say about that boot?
I think it's self-explanatory already. I think it's tragic that he got 13th again, but there's not a lot to touch up on.
Yeah, it was kind of funny that he got the same placement. That was kind of funny.
It sucks because I feel like if he made merge, he could have maybe done something, but
Questionable.
oh, definitely questionable. But I'm just I think there was maybe some potential there.
It's not there's no chance, but low odds.
I'll speak on
Yeah.
that thought when we talk about merge.
So what happened next is that they swapped tribes into
Mhm.
3 tribes of 4.
Four.
Yeah. And basically, Jordan, Lex, and Sophie all got swap screwed. But what's really interesting is that the vote that the tribe split was 2-2 from each tribe from the Pain and Panic tribes.
Yeah.
So what happened with the Lex vote is that basically Lex was feeling close to Patrick.
Rufus. Oh,
Well, Bufus, yeah, but especially they grew close to
Patrick.
yeah. And sorry, I got a notification on my phone. So grew close to Patrick and was like, listen, I think that we should go for Joaquin here because Joaquin is a wild card and won't like be with us, but I think that me and you could do a deep run. But the thing is, Joaquin was trying to, well, not trying, he was successfully playing the middle and went to Patrick and said that Lex was throwing out his name. And the thing is, Patrick knew that this was going to happen because Lex was like, I have to throw your name as the decoy because you're like the other option for a vote. And Patrick was like, that's weird, but was like, okay. And so whenever Joaquin told Patrick about this, Patrick got a little paranoid and was like, I think I trust Joaquin more than I trust Lex, so I'm just going to vote Lex. And Bufus was set to get rid of Lex because Lex was a threat and was someone who had a lot of connections on the other side that Bufus would not be able to have. So Bufus kind of controlled this, as always.
Mhm.
And yeah, Lex got blindsided, unfortunately, and it was really sad. And it was just like the first time they got voted out, like it was just a very sad day in the server.
Mhm.
That was the worst vote ever.
it
True.
was pretty sad. I thought the cycle was kind of interesting, especially because Lex wasn't even Joaquin's initial target. Joaquin
Mhm.
wanted Patrick out because they weren't really connecting at all, which is funny given how well their relationship is right now. But like early on in that tribe, Joaquin wanted to vote off Patrick, not Lex. Bufus was the one that talked them out of it and switched the target onto Lex rather than Patrick, which is why when Lex in like the Trusted Spec Lounge or whatnot was like mad at Joaquin, I was like, you shouldn't be mad at Joaquin because like he didn't even want to vote you. Like, if anything, you should be mad at Bufus because like Bufus is a part of the big reason why
Mhm.
Lex got out. Like Joaquin still played pretty well this cycle and also helping shift the target onto Lex rather than Patrick. But it was like a combination of Bufus and Joaquin probably playing really well off of one another, and Patrick just like playing along with it because what other options does he have besides, potentially going up or what's it called? You never know because like everybody knew, or they on that tribe knew that Bufus and Joaquin were close. So he took his risk knowing that merge was likely soon. So, I mean, and it
I
paid
mean,
off. So, because they didn't
I
lose the
think
next immunity.
I think it was valid for Lex to be mad at any one of them, to be honest. If we're being completely honest, like keeping it 100% real, the best game move for all of the people on that tribe would have been to vote Bufus out.
Mhm.
That's the real honest truth of it. And Lex and Patrick should have definitely stayed together, whether it was Bufus or Joaquin that they had got their votes onto. Both would have been a better game move for both of them. But you are right about like Joaquin not wanting Lex out at first, because I remember seeing a confession that Joaquin made that was like, it was a screenshot of one of their conversations, and Patrick was saying something about, I think it was about
About Joaquin's
maybe
like house.
yeah, about
Yeah.
Joaquin's like house or
Yeah.
whatever. And then And Patrick was like, "Oh, I guess that's a valid reason." And so Joaquin posted, and he's like, "You guess that's a valid reason? No wonder everybody wants you out." Like he wasn't feeling Patrick at all. But I think that it would have been better for Joaquin for sure to have taken hold of Patrick and Lex instead of standing close to Bufus, which won't go too much into what's happening right now, but it would have just been a lot better. It would have put him in a lot more of a power position.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
But
know.
I think in this situation, you have to give props to Bufus because the big question or the big thing everyone's seeing right now is how is Bufus not being targeted right now? He's been
Yeah,
clear cut, out of the blue, the big threat, and he should have been for the majority of this game, but no one seems to be doing that. And I think this move here he did to get Lex out was a big factor because not only did that get Joaquin on his side, but also Patrick, which solidified the big Silverweights alliance that we will talk about a little bit later. That what it is now, that's been doing so well in this merge, and I think a big contributing factor to that is Bufus because Bufus is doing so much right now, and I think
yeah.
the fact that it's he's not being his name's not being tossed out is just mind blowing. Yes, people have mentioned it, but no one has made an initiative on it.
I definitely don't like. I absolutely give Bufus his props, but honestly, the thing for me is I'm just one of these types of people where I'm less about giving Bufus his props and more looking at everybody else like, oh, what's wrong with you? Like, what aren't you seeing? Like, what's not clicking in your head right now? That's like more of my thought about it. Um, Even like, not even talking about merge, like literally before merge, like so many moves, so many things have happened where I'm just like, Bufus is not like, not to say that he's like not sneaky, but like there's been things that he's done where I'm just like, this is such a glaringly obvious issue that you guys should probably jump on, and you could effectively jump on if y'all just like paid a little bit more attention. And
Yes,
so I'm just like, what? Like, I don't understand what's going through their brains. Like, the gameplay just, it's frustrating. But I'll talk more about that in a second because it more comes in. Like, it was always here, but like, merge, mind is blown, completely
it,
blown.
it's just people are trusting him too much, and it's just like how it's like
It makes
you're
no
gonna put
sense.
so much trust into Bufus, who is very notorious for being this kind of player, and no one's acknowledging that. So I'm not like I don't want to bash on people too hard. I want to, but I won't. But it's like they need to get this in their mindset that Bufus is most likely, debatably, because Roman's a good player too, but Bufus is in that conversation of already winning.
I have thoughts about Roman as well.
But we'll move
We'll
on.
get there.
Um, I was just gonna say, me personally, that like talking like with a Lex boot, it made sense for Lex and Patrick to vote out Bufus, but me personally, I don't think it would have benefited Joaquin too much to vote out Bufus and hang out with Lex because Lex never really connected with Joaquin like that. And like, if you look at Lex's confessionals, they never really like they never spoke about wanting to work with Joaquin for the long term future. Like all they referred to Joaquin as was like a snake that needs to get taken out sooner rather than later. So I think Joaquin made the better decision at taking out Lex, given Lex had a lot of connections if they were able to make it to merge. Like Lex and Patrick should have stuck together for sure, but like I think Joaquin's justified or he was justified in voting off Lex, especially with how Lex felt about Joaquin.
I mean,
Mm,
he wasn't not justified. I'm just saying if he had taken the time out um to actually make something happen with Lex, like especially the biggest move ever and the biggest way to have gained Lex's trust possibly would have been to suggest like voting for Bufus and then actually doing it. Like
mm,
that actually could have gotten him a lot of trust from Lex and from Patrick. I think that if he would have played his hand a certain way, he could have absolutely gotten both of them on his side and been in a stronger power position. It would have taken finesse, but I think that he could have absolutely done it if he had just like put that time in to do it.
That is, that's maybe true, but I don't know. Like, I just remember looking at Lex's confessionals and like, based on like interactions
No,
with
yeah.
Exile, they just had like they just had like a set mindset on Joaquin coming into like that tribe. And I don't really know if Joaquin would have been able to like change that because like I don't know, he didn't have a good reputation pre-merge, so everybody
Yeah,
just
I
kind of
know
considered
that.
him a snake.
But that's why I'm saying if he would have put some more into that, because if I remember correctly, Joaquin wasn't blind to that fact. He was
Mhm.
not blind to that fact. He knew that that was like a thing that was happening, which is another reason why he wanted Lex out. But I'm saying that if he would have taken that and done something with it to actually put himself in a better position, because I think now at merge he's like in an okay position, but there's a lot more power players that are, you know, a little bit over him. And I think that if he would have taken that thought and did a little bit more, what do I want to say, observation of everybody else and how they felt about everybody else, like anybody he had interacted with in the game, paid attention to how they interacted with each other and all those interpersonal relationships, he could have absolutely manipulated that situation in his favor.
Mhm.
That's, I mean, you're probably right, but I think it would have to been like a joint effort with like Lex and Joaquin. Like if they actually both took the time into like building a better, stronger relationship with one another.
Yeah, I don't think in that time frame it would have happened. I think it was just it's based off that situation, how they felt there and now. In that case scenario, then I can see the sense of why Lex would have been voted out.
If they had more time to like actually like socialize without having to worry about a vote, I think.
Hmm. I think we're good there, though.
Yeah, I feel everything that you guys are saying. It's all very complex for sure. And I agree that Rufus, I don't know. It's like people recognize that he's a threat, but they don't want to do anything about it. So I don't know if they're using him as a shield or what, but Bufus is set up, at least at that point in the game, was set up to win everything. So that's my take on it. But up
Let's move
next
on.
is the Sophie vote.
This one's
So
kind of
this,
boring, to be honest.
yeah, this one
Yeah.
I kind of
Yeah,
saw coming. Like Quinn and Amelia were super close, and Emmy was close to them as well. And Emmy and Sophie had beef, so it's like, yeah,
yeah.
I don't think anyone was too surprised, not even Sophie.
I think yeah. It's like I feel bad for. I'm a little biased here because I got really close to Sophie when I was playing, and I don't. I wish I would say there's more to this, but there's not because it's just the classic game. Fuck that swipe, not swap. Why say swap? Whatever. It's just one of those situations where like you wish this player could have gone farther. Because I think it's clear as day that Sophie is a fan favorite, been a long time person in this org, and everyone's rooting for them. But it's just one of those situations. It's like how does this happen? Why did this happen? How do you have to be this unlucky?
Right. I mean, Sophie was also being pretty messy, we have to admit. Like,
Yes,
he leaked
which is
everything to everybody all the time.
Especially on
Mhm.
Exile.
Which is why I want to say I want to say that Sophie was robbed, but I also want to say that she kind of flopped because yes, she was a flashy player, but in that process, she made a lot of chaos. And in that sort of scenario, she kind of deserves the placement she's in just a little bit. Do I think she could have made it to merge? Yes, but just seeing the players that she was associated with, it was just not going to be possible. So in that case, she's in that situation where she was robbed, but she flopped.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like I mean, Sophie kind of did this to herself. Like it,
Sophie definitely flopped. Sorry. I'm not sorry. It's a fact.
well,
It's a
it's
fact.
wild because Sophie was in such a great position for the rest of pre-merge. Well, not the rest, but like especially the first few tribes. Like Sophie was running shit, so I don't understand. Like how they fucked it up this badly.
All I
Got too
know is
cocky.
I looked up and I was looking at the confessionals and I was looking at all of the shit that people were like, oh, Sophie said this, Sophie did that, Sophie did this. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, Sophie? I can't even remember all of the things that were like going around at the time of this. But I remember looking at the confessionals and being like, damn, you fucked up, huh? And I don't know if it was like in a fit of, I don't know. I don't
Like,
know.
did she think that she was eating? I'm confused.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair,
I can't tell if she thought she was being like a master manipulator or if she was scrambling. Like I don't know what the motive was. I don't know what the play was.
what's it called? I definitely think like don't get me wrong, Sophie. They had some clear flaws. Being too leaky was one of them, but I do feel like if they had a more favorable swap, there's a chance they might still be in the game right now. I mean, that was like one of the worst possible case scenario was like what Sophie got at the swap, like being swapped into that tribe. So like it kind of sucks, but like they did do it to themselves in terms of like how leaky they were, and especially like those last two cycles of like the Pain tribe. Yeah, it was interesting.
Hey, at least Sophie gets to be on jury, you know?
It's true.
That is
Oh my god, we have to get there. I'm so excited. Sorry.
We can move on to the next episode, which was Quinn's vote out, and it was also the merge.
Quinn's vote out was quite emotional for a lot of people. I won't say it was emotional for myself, but it was emotional for a lot of people.
Mhm.
I guess to start this off, we should probably talk about the merge
Yeah.
challenge, right?
Yes.
So I guess I'll talk about that since
I don't have much
I said
knowledge on the auction, so
yeah. So Final 10, they finally merged. I think it was so funny because as a host, I love to see like the small freakouts from castaways, and they were all like, I swear to God, if we don't merge next round, I'm done. And I'm just like, calm down, guys, you'll get there. So Final 10, we merged and we had the auction. There were 5 boxes with nothing in them, 5 boxes with advantages, and 5 boxes with disadvantages. And everyone was given $500 to spend. Let's see who got what. I know Amelia had to speak in caps locks for
and
the entire cycle, which was really fun.
like
Boofus had to speak in gifts for the entire cycle, which was also really fun to see how he did that. Like some of the screenshots and stuff of the gifts were really funny. I think he said something to somebody about like voting uni, or something, and he's like a unicorn or something. It was really funny. Let's see what else. Bon Voyage was
Mhm.
a fun little disadvantage. That was the one that Patrick got, which was a forced safety without power. So every tribal, until it actually got played, a randomizer would decide if Patrick would go to exile or not. And it was played as a regular safety without power, but it was forced. So those are all the disadvantages. The advantages were the remote control, which Boofus got. Also, you could choose a host and a phrase, and whenever you ping that host, they had to say that phrase. He chose Gabriel, and Gabriel, what was your phrase that you had to say?
Something like, "What is it, my almighty God, Boofus?"
Which that's so Boofus of him.
I think he got
There's
turned on by it, to be honest.
he probably did. It would just be random moments. I think I would like
Whatever.
speak to Rufus in his confessionals, and then he would ping Gabriel, and I forgot that he had like the thing. So I was like, "What are you pinging Gabriel for?" And then Gabriel would say it. I'm like, oh, "Okay, cool." There was the swiper advantage, which was just a vote steal, and Roman got that. The double agent, which was what was the double agent? Who got that one?
What was the double agent?
I have it written down. I'll figure out what that one was. But then the next one was the message in a bottle, which was who got that? Jordan got the message in a bottle and was able to send either to send to Tree Mail an anonymous, not an anonymous message, a message that looked like it was sent from the host. And we'll talk about how all of these advantages were used. I can't remember what the double agent was. But then the
It has
other
something to do with
one,
alliances, did it not?
oh yeah. That one, I think
Yes.
Joaquin got that one.
It was Joaquin, yes.
Yeah,
Wasn't
and
used,
with
right?
that, you were able to. What'd you say?
It was.
Uni
I'm
got
pretty sure.
the exposed to disadvantage.
Hmm.
Oh, who got that?
Uni.
Okay, right. So Uni got exposed, which means that one of Uni's alliances would randomly be exposed, just the name and how many people were in it. And then the double agent advantage, which Joaquin got, I don't even know if he used it
He hasn't
yet
used
or
it yet,
not.
no.
No.
Which he needs to. It expires at Final 7, but whatever. Um, the exposed advantage allows you to pick a person in one of your alliances and see how many other alliances they're in. And then the final advantage was immunity, which Jordan also got. And along with immunity, Jordan had the option to decide if this season would be a final 2 or a final 3. And Jordan chose that this season would be a final 2.
The right choice.
Yeah, I'm very
Mhm.
happy about that choice.
Very interesting.
And I think and I didn't expect him to just tell everybody, and then do what he did at the end of this past episode, but we'll get there. I'm very excited about it because I will say this without saying too much on things that we haven't talked about yet. I think it's very interesting to see because right now things are starting to look like less like alliances working together and more like duos fighting to be the best duo, but like using their alliances to do it. And I think it's really interesting to see.
Yeah, so that was the auction. And then we move on to the vote, which ended up being a blindside on Quinn. And went out with an idol in their pocket, in fact.
Mm.
Technically not. Like, yes, and technically not as well.
Like,
Because it was transferred.
mhm. I feel like I don't know what was going through Quinn's mindset here. Like, yes, it was considered a blindside, but I'm pretty sure if I'm not mistaken, and if what I remember from other people's confessionals, people told Quinn to use their idol. And I think it was more than one person as well telling them they should use their idol here to save the little pack here, save their half. But they didn't. But instead, transferred it to Amelia before the vote even started, I believe, or
No, it
either
was
before
while
or
the votes
after.
were being read.
No, yeah. It was as
Okay.
the votes were being read. But Emmy did tell Quinn to idol. But
Mm-hmm.
everybody just looked at Emmy as if Emmy was being paranoid. But this was one of Emmy's famous reads that was not paranoia, but was just actually Emmy being really observant.
Mm-hmm.
And because I think Emmy told Quinn to play the idol, and then they spoke to Amelia, and Amelia was definitely in confessionals like, Emmy, why are you being so paranoid? Blase, blase, blah. Um, excuse me. And eventually told Quinn like not to play it, which Quinn, of course, was going to listen to Amelia. And that's where like it all went down because they were all being too trusting of, I think it was Boofus again, and I don't get it.
Can anyone explain like how the vote ended up on Quinn?
No, I mean, I know it was a bit of a toss up between a couple of choices. If I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken, it was between Quinn and I think it was either Jordan or Uni, but I think it landed on Quinn instead.
It was that vote was really, really messy and hard to follow. I'm not gonna lie.
Because me and Divine were in the call that the Silverweights Alliance was in, and me and Divine did
Yeah.
not know what the hell was happening. We
That
had
vote was
no
so
idea.
messy from both sides. Which the sides were like Quinn, Uni, Amelia, Jordan, and who am I missing?
Emmy.
And I
Wait,
said Amy.
wait. Amelia, Emmy, Uni, Jordan, Quinn.
And Quinn, yeah. And then Boofus, J-Ro, Patrick, Joaquin, and Roman. And from both sides, the vote was literally so confusing. I don't know how anything ended up where it ended up. I think that people just like
I think
I
what
don't
really
know.
just set it apart was just the advantage play, the block a vote thing or whatever it was.
It
Basically,
ended up on Quinn because well, I think only J-Ro actually like said it, or Boofus, one of them actually said it. Because I like, got so confused that I literally went into every single one of their confessionals and was like, "Can you tell me what your plans are and why they are this way?" And it was still confusing as shit. But I think eventually it landed on Quinn because it was extreme public knowledge that I guess apparently Quinn was telling everybody that she had an idol.
oh yes,
I mean,
that's right.
everyone had figured it out anyway.
Well, Quinn made a bad mistake of like telling like all of our close allies, who then continuously just kept telling everybody else that they trusted. So then it got to the point in the merge where everybody knew Quinn had an idol, which made her an ideal target blindside, which is so unfortunate. Emmy had a feeling that Quinn was going to get blindsided and told Quinn if an advantage was used to use said advantage, and then the light pearl was used by Joaquin after Patrick transferred it, and everyone is sitting there saying surely Quinn uses their idol, and then they didn't, and then they get out.
And I didn't.
And it's so
That's
like, I don't know, for me
I think it
personally,
should.
I mean, there's still more time for this game. But like that's got to be like the worst move of the season so far. Like in my head,
Yes,
like I don't think that's gonna
yes.
get topped.
I don't think Quinn. I don't think Quinn really processed their thinking of what they were trying to accomplish here. Like, I don't think they failed to realize that they spread all this information to a lot of people. And doing that, you have to realize there is a huge risk of that info going out, especially when it's an idol you're talking about. So when you get the merge and you still have that idol, you should definitely note to self, people might know that I have an idol here, so I might as well
Yeah.
use it now or never at all.
Yeah, especially because Quinn, I'm pretty sure, told Uni, which then Uni probably, I think Uni was probably the one who told J-Ro. And of course, that's just going to spiral down to like every single other person. And I'm fairly certain that Quinn did know. I can't remember exactly what Quinn said, but I'm pretty sure Quinn said something in confessions or submissions somewhere that indicated like that Quinn knew that everybody knew that she had an idol. And the fact that I don't know, I understand like some people were saying like, oh, well, like Emmy can be like a very paranoid player at times, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, cool. You can think that about somebody, but if you actually take a step back to pay attention, like you were saying last show, if you actually take a step back to pay attention to that logic that Emmy was talking about, like it was very extremely logical for that to have been a blindside on Emmy. And like realistically, here's the thing about it. If you know that somebody has an idol and you know that it's public knowledge that they have an idol, especially on the fucking first merge tribal, the thought that would be going in my head would be like, okay, this person is probably expecting to be blindsided. So me personally, my move there would be like, okay, fish out this idol, get somebody else out, or something like that. But they just did a straight up blindside, which was easily, it could have been easily figured out. And it was
Exactly.
figured out by Emmy. And so I don't, that, like, okay, like it's so, like, sure, it's sad that Quinn went, but also all of the signs were there.
Yeah, I
And Quinn didn't fall in it.
kind of have less sympathy for it, like just because like it was a very clear
Yes.
thing that you needed to play your idols. So it's just like don't get me wrong, getting voted off sucks, and I get it. But it's like when it's like a very obvious thing that you should do, it's just like you're just like sitting there, and you're
Yeah.
like, come on, like you had an idea that something was gonna happen.
Yeah. And I
Didn't
think
do anything.
especially with the light pearl play, especially because everybody had the thought of this will be a 5-5 vote. And so if it's supposed to be a 5-5 vote and somebody plays a light pearl, you know that this is at very least going to be a 5-4 vote. So what else would you do? I would have played that idol so fast. I would have
Yes,
had
like,
my lash.
and Quinn could have benefited so much from playing the idol because 1, Quinn would have been safe. 2, Quinn would have been the majority. 3, Quinn could have gotten rid of the light pearl without any damage being done whatsoever. And 4, getting out Joaquin, who is a great
Well-
player, and that would have been very useful for Quinn going
That
forward.
could have been a huge turning point for this season. It really could have been. Like that could have been
Exactly.
that could have actually been like the best move of the season. Now it's the worst.
Do you guys think Quinn? Do you think Boof? Because Boof has talked about playing his idol on Joaquin if something happens. So do you think if Quinn plays her idol on herself and like Boofus plays his idol on Joaquin, like what do we think happens then? You know, like then it's like 0 votes for either, and then they have to like go to a revote.
Well, then it would have gone to a revote, and I don't know, because then it turns into what, a 4v4. The light pearl wouldn't be able to be played again.
Wait, why
So
would
I
it be a
think that
4v4?
because Joaquin, no, because Joaquin and oh wait, no, sorry. Then it would have turned in. Then it would have actually been a 5v5 again. Well, not again, but it would turn into a 5v5 because the light pearl wouldn't cross over for that, right?
I don't know. It's your advantage.
Okay. Well, the
I
light
would, I
pearl
would like to think it would, because usually advantages transfer over in revotes.
Well, I guess
I
it
like-
depends on the nature of the revote.
Mhm.
So in that case, since it was played on Joaquin, right? Yeah, it was played on Joaquin.
No, Joaquin
And so,
played it.
right, on himself.
What was the light pearl again?
It negates one vote
Negates one
from
vote
you
against
being
one person.
voted.
Oh,
Exactly. So since Joaquin would have used it, if the idols would have been played, first of all, I would have loved that. But if both of those idols would have been played, then it would have no longer been in play because Joaquin would be immune, thus no votes against him would occur.
right.
So in that case, then I think it would have been a 5v5. And I don't know, it's hard to say what would have happened there. Because there's been all types of talks about people flipping on their sides and blah, 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 blah. But a lot of people wanted to flip at like different times. I think the person maybe most likely to flip would have been J-Ro. Maybe not at that time though. Because J-Ro can be a little bit jaded. And that's that we'll talk about that in the next vote. But J-Ro can be a little bit jaded when it comes to like Boofus and like Joaquin and Roman and Patrick. But I think that maybe one of those people on that side would have flipped. Like maybe J-Ro would have flipped. I don't see anybody on the other side flipping. So honestly, I feel like it would have gone to Rocks.
Yeah, I think so too. With either Uni or Jordan being the vote for Boofus's side, and I don't know who they would have voted on Amelia's side.
I think that they were thinking of. I think their other vote might have been Patrick at the time. I think those were the two that they were thinking of. So I think it would have been Patrick. but then it just would have gone to rocks, which would have been really interesting because then that would have been 4 people immune from that rocks. So that would have been actually very fun to see. But whatever.
Oh, that would have been 5 because Jordan too.
Oh yeah, there have been 5 people immune, so 5
Speaking
person
of
rock.
Jordan,
Yeah, let's talk about it.
let's move on.
Okay. So at this most recent tribal, who had immunity? Oh, Patrick had
Patrick.
1 immunity, but
And then safety
Patrick's
without power.
without power. Yeah, it ended up choosing that he would go away, and so no one got immunity. And Patrick was sent away for this tribal. And the vote really was Roman versus
Jordan.
Amelia.
Oh yeah, Amelia.
And
Yeah.
then, but Roman had a feeling that she would be getting votes, so she gave the steal a vote to Bufus, and Bufus played it while throwing an extra vote on Jordan just in case of an idle play. And that is who ended up going off of a single vote because Amelia ended up idling herself because the steal a vote was played. And then Bufus ended up idling Roman. And Bufus fucked up because he said, I'm also going to play my idol on myself, my second idol on myself. And then he was like, actually, never mind. So now everyone knows that Bufus has a second idol. I mean, we never.
That was so stupid.
But
Come on, Bufus, you're better than this.
It still makes me mad. I was so dumb.
Like, why would you do that?
Because at that point, I was holding it in from saying it because, like, we were on the call, and I was holding back from saying it so bad, but I wanted to say so bad, like, you might as well just play it because at this point they know you have another idol, honey. Like, it's now public knowledge. Like, just don't pull a Quinn if this is what you're gonna do.
I think it's also important to mention that people, especially on Bufus's side, were getting fed up with Jordan, like, because he was so positive. Like, they were actively making fun of him for that, which I think is like weird behavior. But
I think so too.
Yeah.
They got so mad at Jordan for like congratulating them on the blind side. And I'm like, I guess I could understand where you're coming from, but at the same time, like, I think I would have maybe appreciated Jordan being like, I'm not salty, because they were also mad at like Amelia and whoever else for being mad about the vote. But then Jordan came up to them and was like, no, that was like a good move. Like, I'm like proud of y'all for that. Like, I loved it, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, you fucking weirdo. And they're like, he's so fake and untrustworthy. And I'm like, no, he's like genuinely, like, he genuinely thought it was a good move.
I think
Yeah.
it's just the way he kind of came off. Like if this was me, this is just how I would feel. If I just pulled off, or I had a group of you who just pulled off a good move, and you just come up to me like slow clapping and saying, "Well done, great play," I would be like, "Are you just mad? Like, get the fuck out of my face. Move on. You got it played. I don't give a fuck."
Yeah, I personally don't like overly positive people either. So I probably would have felt the same way because I don't really like if I was like in their shoes and I just blindsided someone's ally and they're like in my DMs being like, "Wow, that was a great play. Good job, man." I'd be like, "Is this like sarcasm or something?" Like I wouldn't take them seriously.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I mean, like, I've had it before. Like, I've been on both ends, like, having to go to somebody and be like, wow, that was low-key kind of good, though. Like, go you. And then I've also had people come to me. I've had people come to me when it wasn't my move, and they'd be like, wow, good job. I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? I didn't do anything. But whatever. Like, I've had it before, and, like, I feel like, okay, it might not be, like, the most, like, normal-looking thing to do, but I don't think that he should have gotten that much shit for it.
Oh, for sure.
Like, this cast has been giving Jordan so much shit, and Jordan has literally just been so happy to be here. And, like, they fucking hate him for that.
But
Like,
at the
they
same
hate him
time,
for that.
Jordan, after that vote, kind of was a downer. He kind of like just was kind of a downer in his confessionals. He didn't really give himself a lot of praise, really. He was not really confident going to tribal. And I think just the way after the Quinn vote approaching people, it just didn't give a good look, which is a good reason why they split the vote onto Jordan. Because after that, like Roman, Bufus, and Joaquin and them were not going to trust Jordan, which is a valid reason why he left. But yet again, it's still sad to see him go. But yet again, it's kind of on him, it's kind of not on him, and at the same time, it's not the most surprising move in this game so far.
Well, also, if I remember correctly, this is Jordan's first org,
No,
Who's
Oh wait, no wait.
no, it's
wasn't it?
who's first
No.
org?
Oh, okay. Because I know we had some newbies. I couldn't remember if Jordan was
No,
one of
Jordan.
them.
Jordan. This is his first org in like over a year.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess I okay. Just I guess it's just me personally. I love Jordan. I love the positive energy and everything. And I just think that he got a little bit too much flack for that this season. And I think the reason he got so much flack for it was primarily because of the fact that there's so many like heavy hitting game people who are just like, what the fuck, you're weird, because they wouldn't do shit like that because they're heavy hitter game people. They're not game bots, but you know.
I mean, I think Jordan's kind of like he kind of comes across game body though, because like, that like I don't think this helped his case, and like don't get me wrong, there's no ill intent with him copying pasting the same messages to everybody, but it looks kind of weird when you copy and paste like the same message to everyone at the start of like every day when you're like trying to start a game strategy. Like, it's just kind of like it comes across as like kind of like odd, like to like be doing that. I'm not saying he's like people were justified in hating him, but like typing like, "Hey, good morning, everyone," or whatever you want to say, like, and then like like in like each person's like thing with like their name at the end. It just like it's kind of odd.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just like biased. I mean, I do shit like that all the time. Like I do shit like that all the time, especially when you have to talk to multiple fucking people every damn day. Like I think that's a valid thing to do. I don't know. Like I see your point. I get it. I guess my whole thing was just that the way that it was blown out of proportion, like, did it need to be that way? And I think the funniest shit to me is like Joaquin being like, "Oh, Jordan's so obsessed with me. Jordan's so obsessed with me. Blah, 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 blah." But his whole alliance will like shit talk Jordan like every day, and I'm just like, let's keep it a little bit real
I
here.
mean, Jordan was
Like,
pretty obsessed with Joaquin, though. To be fair, like,
True.
okay, but like, like, cool, whatever. Jordan felt like Joaquin was a big threat, and I don't think that Jordan's wrong to feel that way. I don't think he was the biggest person to worry about, but like I don't think he was wrong to feel that way. But what I'm talking about, like, shit, like literally when Jordan's like getting voted out and they're in their line chat like, "Oh, I wonder if Jordan's gonna be saying that was a good move now," and I'm just like, y'all are so, I don't know. They were just so hell
so
bent.
extra.
Like everything that you're saying, I don't think that it's invalid. I hear it. I just think that it went a little bit like it got blown a little bit out of proportion. And I think that if it didn't get blown out of proportion, Jordan could actually still be here and actually could have
Yeah.
done really well.
I will
I
give you
mean,
this. Hang on, I'll say this real quickly. I will say this. I definitely still think that Jordan did come off a little weird, but I will also say I do think people like Joaquin, Jero, and them definitely took some of the things they said in the confessionals the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
I think they over exaggerated just a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I think that they didn't understand him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's also important. I don't think that them being annoyed with him was the only reason that they voted him. I think it was also to weaken Uni because everyone knows that Uni and Jordan were a duo.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And them leaving out J-Ro. Hold on, we're missing so many parts of this tribal right now. So I don't think we mentioned the official alliance between Roman, Joaquin, Patrick, J-Ro, and Bufus. That's an official alliance. And
Silverweed.
The silver weeds, exactly. And in the Quinn vote, there was some point in time they were on VC and J-Ro left for a second. There was also some point where J-Ro and Bufus left to go talk privately, like
Yeah, that's weird.
one-on-one. That was really weird. And I was like, what is that about? But whatever. They talked or whatever, left their alliance chat to go privately talk and told their alliance chat that they were going to go do that. And that like really didn't flip a switch for anybody, which, okay, I guess. But there was a point of time where J-Ro left the call and the four, Bufus, Patrick, Roman, and Joaquin were basically discussing having a four with them without J-Ro. And that's really interesting because J-Ro was also talking about the need to flip on them. But then it turned around and J-Ro was like, Joaquin or Patrick was now his number one. And there's so many different moving parts, especially within like those just 5 people that I want to talk about, but I can't even tell you exactly what the fuck is going on because they have so much shit going on within them. And then it also connects to like Uni because people want to split up J-Ro and Uni. And it's all a mess.
Yeah, and whenever J-Ro found out that Bufus had 2 idols, he was not a happy camper.
Not at all. Not at all, especially because they left him out of the Jordan vote. Didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
They left him out of the Jordan vote, and J-Ro found out that Bufus had 2 idols.
That was a decision that Roman and Bufus made together. They filled Joaquin in at the last minute.
That makes sense. And that's what I'm talking about when I was talking before about Joaquin sticking with Bufus on that last pre-merge try, because at this point, that side of 5 is literally just Bufus and Roman leading the pact in what to do.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, not to say that Roman is insignificant or not part of the power plays, but a lot of the time it's really coming from Bufus being like, I want to do this, and then having everybody else follow. What else was there? Oh, I want to talk about what Jordan used his advantage for right after the Quinn vote.
Right.
So he had the ability to tell all of the castaways something, and it would be phrased as if it was the host telling us this. And I think this was really good to get J-Ro more so on Uni and their side. And it was going really well until it started to flop a little bit. So Jordan essentially had the message sent that there was a advantage played that exposed somebody's advantages, and it said that Roman had a vote steal and an idol that expired at Final 5. And at the same time, Uni was telling J-Ro something about Quinn leaving Roman her idol, which was going really, really well at first. J-Ro was like believing it, and Roman was like freaking out a little bit. She was like, oh, what the fuck are y'all talking about? Like, I don't have an idol. I don't know what's going on. Blah, blah, blah. And then somehow they flipped it onto saying that it was Amelia. Nobody even realizes that it was Jordan, but they were saying that Amelia played her nihilism, which was one of the urns that had nothing in it in the auction. And they're like, yeah, that was Amelia's thing that she played, and she did that, and blah, 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 which is another reason that there's a target on Amelia's back. And this episode, just recently, Uni went and told Roman that it was Amelia who did that. And I'm trying to figure out what's Uni's play with that.
I think Uni's just being a chaotic villain like she is, even though everyone thinks she's this hero. Like, Uni is a villain.
I agree.
Also, I kind of wanted to talk about Amelia just a little bit. I'm just gonna say right now, I think Amelia's merge game is just complete garbage. And
Yeah.
I'm very, very, very saddened to hear that. Because going into merge, I was very much rooting for Amelia. I thought they had a great personality and I thought they had some decent connections going in. But they are just throwing their social game out the window. They're
Yeah.
not good with Boofus. They're not good with Uni. Not good with J-Ro. Not good with Roman. Not good with Joaquin. She has no regard for anyone right now. And if I'm not mistaken, in Boofus confessionals is rumored that Amelia made Uni cry
Unicry. Yeah.
in
What? I
VC.
didn't hear about this.
Yeah.
Yet, looking in
Yeah. It's
Boofus's
in
confessional, it
Rufus's
says, "I'm hearing
confessionals.
Amelia made Uni cry."
Unicry.
I have no idea what the fuck is going through Amelia right now, but
Amelia has apparently been going off on everybody.
Yeah.
And I
I don't
think
know.
that Amelia just really doesn't know what to do with herself right now.
I don't think Amelia cares anymore. I think that's the problem. I think after the Quinvo and after getting the idol and all that, and even though Amelia made a good idol play, I guess, that's about it. Any other aspect of Amelia's game is out the window. And it's
I
just pure chaos, and it's just kind of disgusting to see.
I think Amelia does still care. I think that what we're seeing is Amelia getting overwhelmed with the gameplay that is happening and shit like not going her way to the point that this is her kind of scrambling
Mhm.
and like just like grasping for straws as much as she can and just not doing it very well. That's what I think that this is, because you noticed it as soon as merge started. um Amelia, for some reason, like really does not like Roman, and her and Roman have like this like it's not an unspoken rivalry, but I don't know how publicized it is. But you'll see it a lot in like Roman's confessionals, and Roman's like, I don't understand why this girl doesn't like
It's super
me, blah
one-sided.
blah blah. It is. It really is. But
I
Roman's
think
just like, what the fuck? And like literally like Roman told Amelia that Uni said that it was Amelia who played the advantage um against Roman, and that was the truth. And I guess Amelia was just like, I'm not buying that shit. And, and
I
Roman
think
was like, I'm trying to tell you.
I think Amelia's like trying to burn a bridge that's already burnt. Like there's a
Yeah.
big gap between the bridge, and Rowan's just sitting there, like just standing there staring at Amelia. Amelia's still trying to light the thing on fire again. Like Amelia's not trying to do damage control here. Amelia is still going to keep on going off and off and off. She's not like trying to hide her emotions. She's just saying right now, "I don't like you," and I'm going to keep on saying I don't like you because I can, which
Yeah,
is
I
like
think at
so
this point Amelia
pointless.
just wants to watch the world burn.
Well,
Hmm
what
I
it could
just
be, and I'm sorry, Trishan, I'll be real quick.
you're fine.
I'm theorizing because Amelia doesn't really update her confessionals, so it's hard to know what she's thinking. But there's a potential, a small potential, that she's doing this on purpose, and so she is trying to like take the thread off of her and make herself seem unlikable. So like if she gets to the end, no one will vote for her because they don't like her. Maybe that's what she's doing.
Yeah, but here's the issue with that. It's one thing to not like people like Roman or Boofus or J-Ro, which is fine because they're not even on the same side anymore. It's another thing when they make Uni cry, who are on the same side or should be on the same side. That's a different level of whatever that is. I don't know
Yeah,
how to describe it. That's not strategic whatsoever. You don't make your
yeah.
allies cry. There
That's what
is
I was
no
just about to
strategic balance
say.
to that whatsoever.
That's
So it's like
exactly what I
Christian,
was about
if
to
this is
Christian
say.
wanted
if
to
this
say
is
something too.
strategy, it's horrible.
Oh, I was just gonna say, um, I was like, I'm rooting for like a lot of people to do well this season, and I was, rooting for Amelia, but it's like I can't. I don't know. I just feel like they're taking the game too personally. Like they're just straight up like everybody on the opposite side. Amelia like is like kind of just like being like a complete dick to them. Like they can't like
Mhm.
like like even if somebody wanted to flip right and like work with Amelia, she would just shut like people are like trying to talk to her and she just like shuts them down like immediately and just like is rude and stuff. And I just
Mhm.
like then maybe it's a strategy,
Mhm.
but I just think it's just her genuinely like taking the game too seriously and letting it like I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but I feel like she's just trying to like I don't know. I feel like she's just she's taking the game too seriously and like I don't know, making Uni cry is just like I don't know, like
Mhm.
That's so
I don't know
crazy
what she did to like cause that to
to do
happen, but
that.
it's just like I don't know. I kind of just feel like
I
I
just,
hope it's not a
I just,
strategy because it's like if this
I,
is
it's, I
I don't
that it is
I
now.
don't think that it is a strategy because, like, okay, if you want the other side to think that, fine, but you don't do that to like your own allies because now you're literally just making yourself public enemy number one. And like Tristan was just saying, literally what I was saying before, Roman was trying to, and Roman has said this before to Amelia, like, I was trying to work with you, blah, 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 blah. And Amelia was like, well, I was trying to work with you too, but she really was just like being dismissive of her or whatever. And I thought for a second, I'm like, maybe it's just, and I saw some people like thinking about this in their confessionals as well. They were like, maybe Amelia's not saying shit like the way that it's coming off. And it's just because of the fact that she had to speak in caps for a cycle. And so I was like, okay, yeah, maybe it's just that. But then like the caps lock went off and it was still like, people are trying to like tell you stuff that's actually going on in the game and you're being like rude and dismissive to them. And so it's exactly what you're saying. Like you're just not making yourself look good at all. And it's not even just like player wise, it's like as a person as well. Especially because I know Roman was saying before, like at first Roman really didn't care about like, you know, people not liking her or whatever.
Mhm.
But I think she said Amelia and I think she said Emmy said it as well, but then her and Emmy like started actually having like good conversations and like started getting along or whatever. And Roman was saying like, you know, it's like actually kind of like frustrating that these people are just actively telling me like to my face that they don't like me, and that they feel this type of way towards me or whatever. And it's very clearly like not game. And Roman's like, well, this seems like very personal. And she's like, I don't understand. I haven't done anything wrong to them personally. I've never been like rude to them personally, blah, 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 blah. And so I feel like I don't know. I really don't know because it is absolutely becoming like more personal for Amelia, and it.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's very one sided in all of those like
And
spaces.
I don't think you can salvage Amelia's game because let's just say Amelia's game turned around. Maybe Jero, Uni, and Amelia, or whoever banded together and going forward. Amelia, let's say Amelia made it to the final tribal council. Let's just say miraculously Amelia gets there. She doesn't
Zero vote
win.
finalist.
Why? Because her jury management is going to be dog shit, and she cannot salvage anything. Which is now, and Amelia just throwing her game out the window is affecting others' games. Like Uni. Uni is going to be
Mhm.
big trouble coming up to this next tribal council. I mean, Uni might go to this next tribal, possibly. I'm saying that option's up there. So it's like not only is Amelia throwing others.
You're kind of going
Hello?
in and out.
Yeah, you just
Fuck.
cut out completely.
I was just saying, Amelia's throwing her own game. It's kind of throwing other people's game out the window as well.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I can 100% see both sides coming together to vote Amelia out next
Yeah.
and then
Mhm.
figure out what they're doing. Like, even if it hurts their numbers, I could absolutely see that happening.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
And honestly, it wouldn't even be that bad for their numbers because a lot of them were talking about flipping on each other around final 7, final 8. So if they did vote Amelia out, I mean, that's just like an easy boot. And then they all start to flipping on each other, which I'm excited to see and very excited to see if they're actually going to do it or if they were just going to talk about it.
All right. So is that all that we got for that vote?
Mm-hmm.
That's like the entire merge.
Yeah.
Well, then we can move on to Elk's segments, where The first one is we each pick a player who we think is going to get to the end or who is going to win. So each of us
Okay.
pick one person, and we can't pick the same people.
Okay, can I go first?
Sure.
I refuse to pick the obvious option.
Okay. My person who I think is going to the final tribal council is Patrick. And I say Patrick here, and I mentioned this earlier in the VC we're in, and I'll mention it again. I think Patrick is just that middle ground where, depending on how this game unfolds, Patrick can find himself in a good position to get the tribal council and possibly win, depending on who they take. But also, Patrick is also kind of, in some way, a goat because Patrick. Yes, Patrick has made some good moves, but I don't think those moves really balance out his game. Because I think just Patrick's social game has just been pretty meh, a pretty meh social game, a pretty cool social game, not social, strategic game, and physically they're good. They have somewhat. It's kind of an uneven balance for Patrick, which makes Patrick that person. Okay, I could possibly beat this person. Final tribal council, and a couple of examples of that. If Joaquin and Patrick went, Joaquin wins. Roman and Patrick goes, Roman wins. If Bufus and Patrick goes, Bufus wins. It's like not only does Patrick beat people, but lose people, and I could just see it happening.
See, I think that the only person Patrick wins against is like Amelia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I do think that Patrick can get to the end. I do. But his
I don't think he could win.
I don't know about
Yeah.
there's still a lot of game left to be played. So he could just be one of those people who's waiting until the late merge to like do something.
Yeah. I mean, they've already.
You cut.
You
I might
cut out again.
cut out again. Yeah. They've already done stuff, but yet again, it's not significant.
Yeah, not really at all.
Not in this.
I want to go next. I would like to go next.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Because I don't want y'all to steal my choice. And I'm not picking the obvious choice because that would be boring of me. I think my pick for this is going to be Emmy, which is an interesting choice. It's very spicy.
You took mine.
Good. So I wanted to go next, so none of you can have her. I feel like Emmy is also in a pretty decent spot, and Emmy has been making moves to kind of infiltrate her way into a better spot. I think Emmy messed up just a little bit by telling the other side that she would also vote Jordan and then not doing it.
Yeah.
So Jordan went out anyway, but she did not vote for Jordan. Which could prove to be a problem, but I think that she has a lot of potential to make it to the end. As far as winning, she would have to pull some real slick shit, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
But Emmy has, let me say this real quick. Emmy has created an alliance with Joaquin and Bufus, which I don't think is the best combination because, well, it also could be. It's a toss-up because we know of Bufus's power position, so she would have to play that a very specific way to the point where Bufus feels like Emmy is more valuable than other players. And then if she could infiltrate her way into Bufus's circle, I think that she can absolutely find a way to get like Bufus and Roman out and overcome their power. Especially because she's also, like I said earlier, been getting in really good with Roman.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that Emmy right now is playing a really good like UTR type of game.
Exactly.
And I think that her reads are good enough and have been good enough this game to the point where she could actually make some shit happen for herself. And she's not at all looking like a target very soon right now.
Mm-hmm. And I can see that happening fairly positively because out of everyone from the side, with Amelia, Emmy, Jordan, Uni, that side, if anyone's going to be able to switch people to go to Emmy's side, well, if anyone's going to convince people from the Silverweights to go with Emmy, it'd be Emmy herself. Because Emmy has already made good connections with, like you said, the alliance that Emmy already mentioned. And if Emmy gets those people to join together and vote out someone else, then Emmy has all the potential in the world, and Emmy has free roaming. So like, that's not outlandish whatsoever. I think that's fairly possible if Emmy plays her cards right. But I will say the vote on Jordan thing is kind of a setback, but I don't think it'll set Emmy back too far.
No, I think they can definitely bounce back from that if they play it correctly, especially because there's other like glaringly obvious targets right now, especially with Amelia acting the way that she's been acting. I think that Emmy can definitely hide behind that. And they have a lot of shields at their side right now. The problem with it, or not the problem with it, but I think the biggest obstacle would be the correct the correct timing and strategy of getting those shields actually out of the game so that they have a better shot of winning.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's
You good?
all like super valid. Like, and you guys picked definitely like two, in my opinion, like obvious candidates who are making it to the end. So I'm very curious to hear who Tristan picks.
Well,
I feel like I know who Tristan's gonna pick.
it's pretty obvious. I'm
Yes.
picking Joaquin. Like,
But
I think Joaquin actually has a genuinely good spot. Like right now in the game, I think Joaquin can like sit back and play from the shadows while the big targets who are like people are starting to get wary of Blueface. People are starting to like get wary of Roman. People want to get out Uni and J-Ro. Like those big targets are gonna like start falling like dominoes. And Joaquin's not, he doesn't have that same target status. So I think there's a very real possibility. And he had like ever since like right before Pain Tribe ended, his gameplay has only been getting better. Like I know he almost got out, but that was just Jordan having like this weird thing with really wanting Joaquin out without giving Joaquin a chance to like even talk to him. But like beside the point, Joaquin's only been getting better since he started doing damage control, and I just think he can keep steamrolling, or not steamrolling. I think he can keep building momentum and getting himself to the end where I know how good he is at talking, and I think he can convince a jury to vote him to win. So,
if we want to talk about who's really obsessed with Joaquin, it's Tristan. Sorry, I just wanted to say that real quick.
I was just gonna say that the thing is, Joaquin has a bit of a temper. And I think if people start grilling him at Final Tribal, he might snap. And people aren't going to like that.
Yeah. I think that's not outlandish, but I think what actually gives Joaquin a good chance, I think, is that people already kind of acknowledge that Joaquin is definitely a little sassy, a little bit chaotic, but I don't think people are really caring that all too much. Like they know Joaquin's personality, they know how Joaquin's gonna play, but they don't feel opposed to it. And I think that's what's giving Joaquin that room to thrive. Playing from the shadows, letting all the big targets go ahead, and then taking that chance to strike is, and even if at some point if Joaquin does make Final Tribal Council, where people do start to knick-knack at Joaquin's game, yes, I think Joaquin will throw some sass, but I don't think they will like go completely ballistic. Depending on what they say, I think Joaquin's chances are not that bad.
So okay, here's what I think. I agree with you for the most part, but I think that the reason that people are not really caring about like the aspects of Joaquin's game is because of the fact that if we already look at the jury that we have right now, there's people who are absolutely going to grill his gameplay. We already know for a fact that we have one bitter juror. They made it very well known that they would be a bitter juror. And I know for a fact that like Sophie specifically is one of those types of jurors that are gonna make you like prove your game and like challenge like what you think of your game, challenge like your self-awareness and like are really going to force you to think about your game holistically. And from what I've seen, I have to agree with Gabriel that I think that Joaquin just might crumble under the pressure. I think that, hold on. I know you're obsessed. I know. I understand. You can't go against every opinion that people have against on Joaquin.
Oh, I can
Seriously,
and I
Keep going, keep
will.
going. Just keep no, Devon, keep going.
and you'll be wrong every time. But anyway, anyway, I think that it is entirely possible that Joaquin will crumble under that pressure. Um, and I think that it might not be like an extremely like loud blow up, but I could absolutely see Joaquin getting like sassy and passive with the jurors and not having the best jury management. I could absolutely 100% see that.
Yeah, I can see
Go
it.
ahead, Christian. We know you want to
I-
say something.
Like, like, don't get me wrong. You guys are like validating and thinking that. Like, don't get me wrong. Joaquin has that kind of personality where like he gives that off. But I've known him for a long time, and he's had like the way he acts is the way he's been acting for like years. You know, he's always been like he speaks his mind, and you know, he is a very he has a main character syndrome a lot. I'll say it. Like he's you know he is the way he is, but he understands what's at stake, and like he's won I don't know how many Big Brother or like how many long terms he's won on Roblox. I know Roblox isn't the same as orgs, but he's always able when like he gets to the end and has to convince people to make sure he wins. um he knows like what to say, and like doesn't let like what people say get to him. So I think that would be like the same case if he were to make it to the end this time around. Like maybe this time around he doesn't do what he usually does and he just fucking explodes on people because they don't like the way he played. But
Honestly, I'll believe it when I see it. I just know that I just know the type of
Mm,
jurors that we have,
yeah,
and
oh, that's fair.
they're
Yeah.
not for the weak-hearted.
I
You
think it's
know?
just me. It's 50-50. But I think we'll move on to Gabriel's pick.
Yeah.
So y'all like picked all the like obvious ones. So I'm really having to dig at the bottom of the barrel, but I think I'm gonna go with Uni. And hear me out. I know that some people are targeting Uni, but she's made it to the end once in this org. She got second place and only got second place out of a pity vote. But anyway, she's so likable, like how like no one hates Uni except for I guess Amelia. But um it's like she would win over a jury in a heartbeat. She has been part of these moves that have taken place even if she doesn't realize it. I know that Uni is very well connected because even though she's very obviously working with one side, she's also with like J-Ro, who connects her to the other side. And I just think that Uni could have the potential to like, definitely if she makes it to the end, I think she wins unless she's against like Bufus, maybe Roman.
Mm-hmm.
But Uni is like that girl, as she's, I don't want to like use AAVE, but like in Uni's words, like she says, I is slaying, so she is.
I, I will say this. I think what's really going to determine Uni's game, and didn't Uni win Hero of the Season once, if I'm not
She did. She won
mistaken?
season 1.
Yeah, so I think that instinct is going to have to kick in for Uni, because, yeah, like you said, Uni's being targeted by some people here, and I think that instinct's going to have to kick in. I think Uni really has to try and rally those troops together in order for this to win. And I think that ideal setup is because people already know Uni and J-Ro definitely have this weird relationship where they're definitely allies. It's pretty much acknowledged. And and yes, the whole Amelia making Uni cry thing, we don't know the full context of that. I wouldn't completely say that relationship is completely burnt. And if Uni can repair that relationship and also pair with Emmy, Uni could make a comeback here, and Uni could win this game. I actually don't think that's outlandish at all.
I think, and honestly, I think losing Jordan was good for her because she has a guaranteed vote on the jury. Now she doesn't look like she's a duo with anyone, maybe J-Ro, but that's not as strong. Like, I think that actually helped her game quite a bit.
Yeah. What was I going to say? I think that it was really good that Bufus showed Uni his true colors earlier within the within Merge, because I think that Uni was definitely set up to be a far too trusting number for Bufus. Um, and like we've seen Boofus like actively targeting Uni, and Uni being in confessionals like Boofus wouldn't vote for me. So I also think that it's really good that Boofus like showed his true colors to Uni, so now she could be like, oh, okay, bet, and absolutely make that in game. I definitely agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now we move on to the character of the season. So we will each pick one person, cannot pick another person, or we cannot pick the same people, and they are going to be the main who we think is like the most entertaining. And I'm gonna go
Can I
first
pick myself?
since I do whatever you want, Lastro. I'm gonna go first since I went last time, and I'm going to throw out Roman as the character of this.
I hate you because I knew you were going to do that, and you stole my person. Thank you.
Roman is absolutely the narrator of the season. I think like we get the most content from Roman, and Roman is like very interesting because she not only talks about the game, but she also talks about her real life, and they're keeping a like playlist of songs for the season, which is so entertaining. Like Roman is just, that bitch. Like Uni is that girl and Roman is that bitch.
Amen.
That's so real. I'm so mad at you for picking Roman though. Because I wanted to pick Roman.
Let's Christian picks.
So this is like crazy, right? Like, but like,
oh, I wonder who you're gonna pick.
No, okay.
Right?
I am picking Joaquin, but
we know.
let me say, I don't like. I get he's my friend and not, but you guys would be lying to yourselves if when you read Joaquin's confessionals, you're lying to yourselves if you're saying you don't laugh. Because he always makes me laugh. Like he has the funniest confessionals. I love his attitude and I love the way he talks about things because he's authentically him, and that's what I love most. Like when the whole Patrick thing where Patrick was like, "Oh, that's a pretty valid reason to move," and Joaquin was like, "What do you mean that's valid? I'm literally being forced to fucking move." Like I don't know. He's funny and I don't know. He's always been that way where he's like a big character and like I don't know, like I was gonna pick Roman actually for this, but Gabriel took her. So I mean I had to pick like my fucking number 2, which is Joaquin. So
I agree with it. I definitely agree with Joaquin's confessionals and personality definitely shining.
Yeah, I mean, Joaquin's definitely funny. He's a little mean, but it's not mean.
A little
sassy mean.
It's not mean to the point where
it's not like ill intent. It's like
yeah, it's just like kind of like banter.
I mean, he was cast as a villain, to be fair.
I wish I could find one of his confessionals right now, but I remember there was something that he said, and I was like, "Well, damn, thanks." Okay,
Devon, you want to pick now?
Yes. Okay. So I'm gonna say this first, and then I'll pick another person. But I really want to pick Jordan, and it's purely based off of this one thing that he said in his confessional that fucking took me out. I think he was talking about J-Ro or Boofus. I don't remember who he was talking about, but he said, and I quote, "What does he want me to do? Take my pants off and let him fuck me?" And
I love it. I love it. I love that line.
I don't remember. I would have to like go back. Like I just went to the starboard because I started that shit when I saw it. But I would have to go back and see what that was in relation to. But that shit made me fucking cackle. And like Jordan just saying shit like that, I was just like, you're great. I loved it. Because what the fuck? But my actual pick, I think, would have to be J-Ro. Because I also think that J-Ro is fucking hilarious.
Yes.
And I mostly J-Ro doing the fucking idol hunt is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Yes. Yes. That's amazing.
I never talked about the idol hunt in this podcast. I'll do that later. But J-Ro like saw like Ollie had like some random fucking flags in his bio.
That was so funny.
Well,
J-Ro just is like doing question mark and then a random fucking flag. And it's absolutely priceless. And then I think Ollie changed his bio to some random emojis. And he's like, well, they simplified it for us, but this still doesn't make sense. I just think that shit is so funny. And I just find it so funny because he'll be so like dead ass serious in the things that he says. And they're just fucking hilarious. I think that J-Ro is funny as shit, intentionally and unintentionally.
No, he is.
So yeah,
He's also
J-Ro
is a little
definitely
mean,
has-
though. I have to admit, J-Ro's a
He's-
little mean.
J-Ro
Yes.
is mean. That's why I love him too. Because I think the thing is, when I go to J-Ro's confessionals, I never know what I'm gonna see.
Yeah.
And like half the time, more times than not, I'm just like, J-Ro? And it cracks me the fuck up every single time because it's just such random shit sometimes, and I love that. So J-Ro's my pick.
I do want to point out, it's been hilarious how he goes from I respect women to women fucking suck and I hate all of them.
Yes.
Going back and forth
That's my
between
transition.
that. And that's like really funny.
That shit is absolutely hilarious.
I love J-Ro's great. I definitely will say, Gabriel, you also took my pick, so I'm kind of pissed at that as well. But for my second pick, and I'm kind of surprised no one picked him yet, but I'm going to go with Boofus. I think Boofus brings a lot of diverse personality to his game. I think his video confessionals are fantastic. I listen to every single one of them. I think they're amazing. I think when the way he plays his game, he shows off his little bit of his humor, a little bit of his sassiness, and also skills. And I think he just not only does he want to play the game with everything he has, he also wants to have fun while doing it. He wants to show off. He's I like to call him the funny guy.
Yeah.
He's like the goofball of this whole cast right now, besides me, because I think I'm the funniest. But if there's a close second, it's definitely Boofus. And I just admire it so much, and that's definitely the person I ideally want to see win because I love the funny people because I'm the funny person here. But yeah, that's why I like to lean to.
Boofus is definitely a good pick. I didn't think that I would ever meet someone or spectate someone in an org who's meaner than Boofus, but then Joaquin and J-Ro show up and
Yeah.
they make Boofus look like a fucking saint. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't really we've seen a little bit of sassy Boofus, but not like mean Boofus. And I think that's really, he just has this charm about him, you know, like Boofus is so charming.
Yeah. And I'm glad we're seeing the charming and sassy Boofus instead of the mean Boofus. Because if the mean Boofus was here, I don't think he'd be last. Oh, where did the hell did Divine go? Anyways, if we saw the mean Boofus, I definitely don't think he would be lasting that long. So I'm glad he's playing the way he's playing and the way he's showing off his personality.
Yeah, absolutely. That little bit of like cockiness and but like also he's still humble in a way. Like it's great. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
So now we move on to our final segment, and that segment is who is never going to make it to FTC? Who is going to?
Oh, I'm going first.
Well, I think we should let Divine go first because Divine has went third both times.
Fine. Wait, no. Wait, what? Okay, whatever. Divine, you there?
Actually, maybe you can go since Divine doesn't.
Yeah, I'll go first. I think my pick's already obvious. I'm obviously going to go with Amelia here. I don't want to go Amelia. I really wanted Amelia to play better, but Amelia is just not only is it not just working out for Amelia's just doing it to themselves. Like they're just burning all the bridges away. They're not really caring about relationships. They're making kind of careless plays, in my opinion, not really looking out for themselves. And
yeah, we can hear
you. You're kind of glitching, but okay. And
no, Lastro, no, be quiet.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. I don't give a fuck. I already chose Amelia. You
no, you fucking asshole.
Anyways,
I screamed Amelia.
I don't care. Anyways, yeah, Amelia is just not giving a shit right now. It's just if she makes it, she's going as an obvious go, and yeah, it's the end of it.
Yeah, I think that sums it up. Like,
I think we're good there. I just wish. I mean, it could all go differently. Okay. I think Divine, you can go now.
Well, because I was supposed to go first, I feel as though I still should be able to get my pick, and
no,
No,
that's
shut the
not
fuck
fair.
up. Shut the
you
fuck
weren't
up.
here. You weren't here. Sorry.
No, I was here. I was here.
Oh,
It's
we
just
couldn't
that-
I
hear
was
you,
here.
so
I
you
was
got to pick
here.
someone
That's
else.
okay. Just because Discord is racist, I should suffer?
Yeah,
Like, wow. Wow. Okay, Gabriel
on
hates
Discord
blacks, confirmed.
Can you just go?
Y'all are literally so sick. Y'all make me sick to my stomach. Like, oh my god. Literally everybody else could get to merge. I mean, to FTC if they play their cards right. Could everybody win? No. Could all of them
No.
make it to FTC?
Okay,
Yes.
then
Bro,
someone
just
who's
fucking
not
pick
gonna
one.
win. Pick someone who's not going to win.
Patrick is never winning, and we've went over that already.
No, but the question is who's not making final tribal council?
No, the question is
And
who doesn't have a chance at winning.
Oh.
Patrick has no chance at winning. Patrick could beat Amelia. Amelia is not making it past this tribal. Patrick will never win. Could Patrick do some stuff, pull some shit off before FTC? Yeah, sure. Will that be enough? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Everybody else has a story behind them for their entire game, and Patrick feels like, and I don't mean for this to sound rude, because like Patrick is great and all, but Patrick is giving not even side character at this point. Patrick is like an extra in the movie. And I know how that sounds, but like it's just true. And like if Patrick could like come out and prove me wrong, I would love that. I doubt it would happen. Like in anything that's happened this season, anybody else, in any tribal that's happened, any moves that have happened, any drama, any rivalry, anything, you can see all of the rest all of the rest of these players, and they will have had some part of something, like a deep rooted part of something that has happened. Patrick, error 404 not found.
That's a very valid point. I don't think there's anything to expand upon that. Like, you said it all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Tristan, you'll go now.
This is people who we think has like zero chance of winning the season, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And Patrick and Amelia have been said, correct?
Mm-hmm. You're gonna say Joaquin again.
No, that's my boy. What the heck? Joaquin's winning it all, baby. Give me a second. Let me remind myself of the cast real quick before I make this decision. I'm gonna say Jero. I think he's gonna get caught in the crossfire soon, especially when people contemplating wanting to flip on him at this very moment. I think his time in the season will be coming to a close, sooner, like rather than later. I think it'll be like, I don't know if final 8, but final 7, 6, I think he'll definitely have his torch snuffed.
Yeah, I mean, J-Ro is just like, he's playing much better than he did in season 4, but he's still just too blunt and too chaotic in a way. Like, and he holds his cards close to his chest, which people don't like. Like, I don't see anyone wanting to go to the end with him because they think that he is playing a good game, but he's also just kind of sketchy. So it's like he's losing all of his allies right now.
It's like playing poker. It's the one person in poker who looks down at the cards and there's a clear facial expression on their face on what they're doing and why they're doing it. So it's his game's kind of obvious right now.
I also think that J-Ro can be a little bit what's the word? Naive. That's not the best word.
He can be
Yeah.
kind of serious from time to time.
I think that he can be a little bit naive a lot of times. Like, and I said this earlier. I feel like his vision gets like very jaded, and he what's the correct word that I want to use? He's very not like non-observant. Like he's very, I guess, just
Mhm.
like blind to shit that happens a lot of times. Like just very unaware of like the shit happening sometimes, and that's, I think, would be his greatest downfall. Like I think that he just doesn't. I don't even know how to word it correctly.
Yeah, but I think I
I
see
think
what
we
you're
understand.
saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Gabriel, you go.
So I'm not left with a lot of choices, but I'm gonna have to go with Roman because I think that Roman's game is just too
Yeah.
exposed. You know, everyone knows where Roman stands, and Roman isn't really being too fluid with her gameplay. So, and like everyone sees her as a threat. So, like, they're definitely going to try to get her out, probably like F6.
Yeah, I can see it. I mean, would it be amazing to see Roman win? Absolutely. I think that'd make a great winner. But I don't think that's that realistic. Unless Roman's able to hold on to the relationships she has right now, then it's possible, but I doubt that's going to happen. I think sooner or later, either like Jay or Joaquin's going to flip.
Yeah, Roman would have to get to the end with someone who's also a big threat, like Bufus. Like her and Bufus would need to stay very close the entire game. And if she gets that FTC, like between those two, it would definitely come down to who can sell their game better. And I think Bufus might have the upper hand.
Do you guys see the confessional Uni just made?
Yes.
She said I made a goat application and filled it out because, honey, anyone can take me in right now. First name Uni, last name Corn.
That's funny. All right, so that concludes the end of our segments. We do have one person listening, so we'll see if there are any spectator questions that we need to answer.
Follow Viber on Twitter.
Yeah, follow Villain Viber on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
Yeah, Rizzy, whatever.
It does not look like Ricey has any questions, so I think that we can close things out here.
Oh, fuck off.
Oh, okay. This has been the Villain Viber podcast. Thank you for listening. I am Gabriel, and with me are my co-hosts.
Divine.
Lastro.
Christian Neil Turtle emoji.
Wow.
So we will see you all back next Friday. So we look forward to that. See ya.
That was Bye.